Money stress. Have you ever experienced money stress? Chances are you have. That's probably why you're watching this video. In fact, 70 to 75% of Americans say that their personal finances is the number one stressor in their lives. Money stress is essential to address, to move through, and to stop feeling all the time in order to earn more money in your business, in order to create more wealth, in order to create more abundance. Why? Because that money stress is exactly what's stopping you from being able to create more money in abundance. I'm going to be telling you more about this in today's episode. But what I want you to understand is that you can break free of money stress. You don't have to feel trapped by money stress. Money doesn't have to stress you out. Money can feel relaxing, fun, and delightful. And I'm going to tell you how if you stay till the end. Hey guys, so today we're talking all about money stress and our stress response to money. Now, 75% of Americans feel as though money is the number one stressor in their lives. Chances are you have experienced money stress as well. Pretty much everyone has experienced money stress, no matter how much money you have, no matter how much money you're making, no matter how successful your business is. You are experiencing money stress in one way, shape, or form. It's ubiquitous. It's common. Everybody experiences it. Whether you are somebody who's making $1 million a year or you're somebody who's making $1,000 a month. You see, money stress can show up in different ways for different people. It can show up like feeling like, I don't know where I'm going to make my next sale. I don't know how I'm going to generate the next, the next income month. I don't know how I'm going to break through my income ceiling. But it can also be things like, I don't know how I'm going to maintain consistent income months. I don't know how I'm going to be able to generate, an even more expansive business where I can really elevate my earnings so that I can hire more team members so that I can expand and, be able to serve more people. I am feeling money stress because I'm not sure which investments to make with the money that I inherited from my parents. I'm experiencing money stress because my parents are experiencing money stress. You see, money stress comes in lots of different shapes and forms, and you have undoubtedly experienced it. Now, here's the messed up thing about money stress. Money stress becomes a cycle where we experience stress about money, right? Because we've all been taught in our culture that money is this whole big stressful bucket of yuckaroony. Oh my God, I don't want to look at my investment accounts. I don't want to look at my retirement. I don't want to look at my student loans. I don't want to look at my bank account because it stresses me the heck out. And so that's what we've been taught a lot about money in terms of our family, in terms of our, culture, in terms of our education. If you did get any education about money in school or anything like that, or from your parents. But what's messed up is that money stress then causes us to lose access to the exact resources that we need in order to be able to make more money in our business. So let me explain this. So the way that the nervous system works, the way that our bodies work, the way that our stress response works is that we basically generate all of this energy to survive when we feel stressed out about things. You see, I've seen this in thousands of clients that I've worked with over my 20 years as a psychologist and a wealth coach. I have seen so many clients lose access to their higher resources because they're so stressed out about what it is that they're creating. In this example, we're talking about creating more money. We're talking about making more money. We're talking about creating more wealth, right? And so when we feel stressed about it, what happens is we experience that stress on a physiological level, a lot of times outside of our awareness, even though we're going, yay, money, I want more. We are physically experiencing the stress, the tension, the stomach ache, the tight shoulders, the headaches, whatever it might be, those sleepless nights about money. And that physiological reaction is actually giving parts of our mind, our subconscious mind outside of our awareness, the signal that money isn't safe. The signal that money is actually really overwhelming. It's really stressful. It's going to stress me out. Whether it stresses me out because I don't have money to pay the bills, or it stresses me out because I don't know how to, generate more income, or it stresses me out because if I make more money, it means I'm going to have to work myself to the bone. Whatever the stress it might be, if we feel this on a physiological level in our bodies, it's going to give our subconscious mind the signal that it's not safe. You see, 80% of your nerve signaling goes from your body to your brain, and only 20% goes from your brain to your body in this part of your nervous system. What this means is that your body is going to be overriding whatever it is that you're consciously thinking about. I want to make more money, or money's safe, or trying to do affirmations like, I'm safe with money, money's safe with me. Yeah, good luck with that. I mean, that's great and all, but this is why affirmations don't work, because we're not addressing the stress response that we experience within our physical embodied being. And instead, we're trying to shift only from the mind. We're only addressing stress in terms of our thoughts, in terms of the things that we repeat to ourselves, instead of realizing that these stressors are embedded inside of our cells and inside of our bodies. And they create what's called the fight or flight response. You've probably heard of that before. There's 4 different responses to chronic stress: fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. These different responses to stress end up essentially throwing on the handbrake in your business and making it so that you feel perpetually stuck and you don't know why. The fight, flight, freeze, or fawn responses look like things like fighting might be feeling like you got to be hyper independent and you're going to throw all the ideas at the wall, like the spaghetti at the wall, and you're going to keep trying new things because, oh my gosh, I got to just make something work. I got to make something work. That urgency, that fight, I'm going to fight through this feeling of stuckness and find my way through. The flight response is, I'm going to run away from this and hide because it's so overwhelming. The freeze response is, I'm going to go to bed. I'm going to forget that I have a business. I'm going to go on a Netflix binge for a week. I'm going to do anything I can to step away from this thing that is scary and that it's overwhelming to me. The fawn response is basically, I'm going to do whatever I can to make sure everybody's happy with me all the time, to make sure I'm approved of, to make sure everybody likes me, which means I don't have any flavor. I'm not being authentic, and I'm not going to be able to do what it is that I need to do to make my business successful. So these 4 stress responses, right? They show up in our behaviors. This is our subconscious mind essentially trying to protect us from this scary, stressful thing, which happens to be money, which happens to be wealth, which happens to be the very thing that we want more of. But our subconscious mind doesn't realize that. Our subconscious mind thinks this thing is uber threatening. It thinks it's a freaking lion chasing us down, trying to eat our brains. And so it's going to protect us from it any way it can. It's going to cause procrastination. It's going to cause perfectionism. It's going to cause imposter syndrome. It's going to cause a fear of failure. It's going to cause a fear of success. Oh my God, what happens if I'm ultimately successful and all these people want things from me? I'm going to be burned out. And so the handbrake gets thrown on, and we're perpetually stuck in the same place financially. We're perpetually stuck with this alarm bell going ding-a-ling-ling-ling-ling-ling-ling in the back of our head about money, because we feel this stress response, and it's giving our subconscious brain the feedback that this is not safe. Even though consciously we want to make more, the body holds the score. The body holds the score on whether or not we feel stressed about money. Now, this impacts our financial decisions in huge ways, right? It impacts our ability to take risks. It impacts our spending. It impacts our investments. It impacts whether we feel safe being seen. It impacts whether or not we feel safe taking the plunge into a new business idea, investing in a mentor, investing in the stock market, overspending, underspending cycles, difficulty making long-term financial decisions, difficulty finding clarity, which we're going to talk about more next week, difficulty with our relationships, with having difficult financial conversations with those important people around us, avoidance of our money, avoidance of our bookkeeping, avoidance of things, just spending money frivolously, or refusing to spend money at all and hoarding onto all the money because we have all of this stress and fear and we're coming from a scarcity mindset, right? All of these things can happen when we're in that fight or flight response, when we're in that stress response to money, and they all invariably impact our business. Now, this actually has a physiological reason, a biological reason behind it. The reason is our body wants to mobilize all of our resources for survival. When we feel stressed about something, our body is giving our subconscious brain the signal that there is an emergency. Our life, our survival is on the line, and we need to get the hell out of here, and we need to survive. And so it's going to do whatever it needs to do to survive. So that means mobilizing our internal biological resources towards survival. In this case, it means putting our mobilization towards running away, towards, surviving to breed another day, to have the next generation of children, so that our species continues to evolve. And what it does is it actually physiologically shuts down all of our higher resources. It shuts down our immune system. It shuts down our digestive system. It shuts down our reproductive system. You don't get real interested in sex when you are super stressed, right? You've probably experienced that before. It also shuts down our higher cognitive functioning, like problem solving, like creativity, like expansive thinking where you can see new opportunities. What happens is you actually literally narrow your vision to see only what's in front of you in order to survive. And so that narrows your vision in your business. That narrows your vision in terms of how to create more money, how to make more money, how to feel more abundant, how to, invest in ways that maybe you hadn't thought of before, how to partner with somebody in a new way, how to put out a new offer that's going to be a slam dunk. You're not actually open to those new opportunities because you're locked in to survival. You're locked in to trying to find the one path that will lead you to survive another day. And unfortunately, that stress response then causes that narrowing that causes you to lose access to be able to make more money, that causes you to lose access to be able to feel more at ease in your business, to feel more at ease with making more money, to feel more at ease with putting out offers instead of feeling this like that comes from that fight or flight response that we've been talking about, right? So what we need to do instead is we really need to shift into a feeling of relaxation with money. And I know you're probably like, Dr. Ash, who's freaking relaxed with money? Let me tell you, it is totally possible. And it is actually entirely necessary in order for you to create more money in your business, in order for you to break through that income ceiling, in order for you to have these consistent income months, you have to be able to feel grounded, rooted, and at ease with money in your relationship with money. So I want to ask you a question here for a moment. How does it feel in your body when you think about something like getting an unexpected bill for $10,000? If you were to tune into your body right now, how does that feel? Does it feel really stressful? Does it feel really overwhelming? Does it feel as though, your shoulders are going up to your ears and you're, oh my God, like you get a stomach ache? If it feels that way, chances are you are experiencing stress around money. That stress around money causes what I talk about a lot, which is a dysregulated nervous system. When we experience chronic stress around something, it makes our nervous system less responsive to coming back to that grounded feeling of safety. And instead, we're constantly in a state of hypervigilance for the next threat to arrive. Think of it this way. If you are stressed about money one day, you might be like, oh, I don't know how I'm going to solve this problem, but you know what I mean? I'm going to figure it out. If you are stressed about money day after day after day, and you're constantly going, what's the problem? How do I solve it? What's the problem? How do I solve it? Guess what? You're always going to be finding more problems. You're always going to be in this state of chronic stress, and you're always going to be hypervigilant for the next problem to come up that you're going to have to solve, which means you're always going to be in that narrowed point of view where you've lost access to your higher cognitive functions, which are exactly what you need in order to be able to make more money, in order to be able to generate wealth, in order to be able to be the person who is wealthy and abundant, which then manifests in your pocketbook and in your bank account, right? So asking yourself if you're stressed about money, and then really, the way to begin working on this is really tuning in and asking yourself, how does stress usually manifest in my body? Where do I normally feel stress? Where do I normally feel this feeling of overwhelm? And really working on getting embodied into understanding your physiological response to stress so that you can understand when you're in that space and not go into important decision making in your business when you're in that stressy space, and instead work on nervous system regulation practices in regard to money and wealth instead. So I want to ask you another question. When you are stressed about money, what are the typical financial decisions that you make? Do you make wise financial decisions that are really coming from a feeling of calm, from a feeling of trust, from a feeling of decisiveness? Or are you coming from a feeling of panic? Are you coming from a place of, I don't know what to do, so I'm just going to do something? Of anxiety, anxiety-motivated behaviors. Anxiety-motivated behaviors almost never work out the way we want them to, because what they're generated for is protection instead of expansion. So I want to repeat that. Anxiety-motivated behaviors never will give you the result you want because they are focused on protection and not expansion. So this is when we go into hoarding money. This is when we go into fearful behaviors that do not expand our pocketbook and our bank accounts, and instead keep it stuck exactly where it is. Protection. You see what I'm saying here? So when you see that how your stress is manifesting in your body, what your typical decision making is like when you're coming from that stressed place, and you can begin to see the patterns in your spending and saving habits, in your investing, in your business, in your offers, in your sales process, in your marketing, all of this stuff, when you are in that stressy place, you are going to see how that stress impacts your ability and capacity to build wealth, because it is impacting your nervous system and it is impacting your capacity to have that expansive mindset that sees new opportunities instead of that narrowed down, locked in, tense, clinging to security, self-protective mode that is working against you. So there are many things that may have impacted this. Things like trauma from the past that is triggering your stress response, things like chronic stressors that you've experienced through time around money, things you've been taught in your family about money, about beliefs about money, stuck emotions that you have about money due to experiences you've had, business traumas, business disappointments, all kinds of things, overwork, feeling burnt out. But you have to come to a place where you can find this feeling of relaxation and ease with money. Because when you do, that is when you free yourself to create more money with more ease. That is when you free yourself to come to a place where money isn't overwhelming and it's not something that causes burnout. It's a tool that brings you freedom and brings you joy and brings you satisfaction and brings you impact and brings you everything that you desire, which is on the other side of making more money and creating more wealth. So a simple exercise that you can do is, there's actually two that I want to teach you. The first one is mindfulness. We have to be aware of something before we can shift it. We have to be aware of something before we can change it. So in order to be aware of what's going on in these moments, we just need to pay attention, as I said before, when that stress response comes up in our body, when we experience that physiological stress response and understand what that looks like for us particularly. Secondly, we need to be able to back off from that stress response in a way that soothes our nervous system and helps our nervous system return to a place of resiliency so that it can bounce back into that grounded calmness that is your home, that is your authentic truth. And when you work on your nervous system and when you do nervous system regulation practices, you, especially around money and building wealth, what's going to happen is you're going to feel as though you can make these decisions about building wealth, about creating more money in ways that support it and open you up to these new opportunities, because you're accessing your higher functions, because you're no longer in that stress response that narrows down your focus and narrows down your point of view. So rooting down into this felt sense of safety when it comes to money, so that your body is no longer in this extreme reaction, finding ways to calm the stress response through nervous system regulation, and no longer getting stuck in that reaction of stress, that fight or flight response with money. Now, nervous system regulation and wealth building is something that I specialize in my work with my clients. And I have a mini program called the Embodied Wealth Lab that can help you work on nervous system regulation and building wealth. And it will really help you feel calm and just responsive to money, feeling relaxing and supportive of everything that you desire instead of overwhelming and something that can cause you to feel burnout. If you're interested to learn more, I invite you to check out the link and definitely explore the program. It's just a quick 30-day program in about 10 to 20 minutes a day, and you'll feel more ease and expansive to all of those opportunities that are always available to you and your unlimited abundance and your inevitable success.